Welcome to GH Sports Experience. More than half of the entire African continent will be playing at Morocco for Africa's most prestigious title at AFCON 2025. The senior national team of Ghana, Black Stars, will not be part of the competition. Otto Addo, the coach of Black Stars, does not see the need to resign after the team's poor performance. Others have also called for the resignation of Kurt Okreku, the president of Ghana Football Association, and the entire management body. We are going to hear Saddick Adams, popularly known as Sports Obama, as he dissects the issues and provide possible solutions. But first of all, I need you to help us expand our reach by liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. Thank you.
It's difficult accepting the position that we are today. Very difficult, especially for some of us who are passionate lovers of soccer and Ghana's national team before becoming professional journalists. So it's difficult to separate what it used to be and what the situation is now. And also especially at a point where the various sectors of our football, the Black Stars used to be the facade, the last remaining objects that truly showed that the Ghana football was in a good light, has finally gone down. So this is a systemic failure. The other departments have been collapsing over the years. It didn't start today. And the Black Stars used to be what held everything together. So there was an extreme injection of funds, even against good advice. There was an extreme focus on the Black Stars. There was an incessant defense of what people wanted to do with the Black Stars because all the other foundation or pillars had broken, with the exception of the Black Stars. So whatever situation, regardless of the amount, we need to put the Black Stars in a state that will appear, or for people to assume things are well with Ghana football. But then when it finally hit, all the cables went off and they finally hit the Black Stars. Everything has come crashing down, and it's embarrassing, very embarrassing, especially also when you mentioned there were 8 teams competing for the AFCON to 12 teams. It used to be 4 teams to 8 to 12 to 16. Now more than half of the continent participates to compete at the African Cup of Nations. So even the poorest of teams, or those we used to know had no talent, with little push will qualify, have all overtaken the Black Stars. So if 46, 47 teams are competing, let's say 50 teams out of the 54 are competing in the qualification process, and you do not make it, it really paints a very gloom picture of the state of your football. I am one of the people who think that coaching at the Black Stars, coaching and playing body, has got nothing to do with the challenges that we have, because the factors or the facts are very bare. You have the players play week in, week out in the topmost leagues in the world, and they come here to play, and you want to sit back and say, are these really the players who were playing in the English Premier League last week? Is this a guy who scored in the Spanish La Liga last week? So you can separate it from the players not being talented to an institutional framework that doesn't function as it should. Because I heard the coach, Otto Addo, finally subscribing to the fact that Ghana doesn't have talent. And I said, you are in a group with Sudan, Niger, and Angola. So not having talent should not be an issue. If you were in a group with Brazil or England or Spain or Germany, that would have been a factor. That would have been an excuse. But if you are in a group with Sudan, Niger, Angola, talent should not be an issue. We have the top 3 dribblers in the English Premier League at this point. The best 3 dribblers in the most competitive league in the world are all Ghanaians. The top 3 dribblers, people who can overtake the best and the most atrocious of defenders. The top 3 in the English Premier League are not Brazilians. They are not Portuguese. They are not Spanish. All top 3 are Ghanaians. And this has been consistent. Sometimes, but the best defender in the league in terms of blocks was a Ghanaian 2 years ago. French league, Spanish league. The talent is spread across. Even back home, You watch on grassless pitches, and I speak to some of these top agents, including likes of the Right to Dream owner, and they say Ghana is only scratching the surface of the talent base. We are only scratching the surface of the talent base that we have. So talent has never been an issue. Our issue is an administrative failure and mismanagement. It went wrong long before the results happened. It's been coming. I'm sure we were in this studio almost 9 months ago. So all the factors that we mentioned, we saw it coming, because from round 16 to elimination in the group stages consecutively, the only option or the only available level for us was to not qualify. And when we sounded the alarm bells, there were so many name calling and other. What went wrong is that we have refused to accept the fact that the problems around the team are not what the authorities think should be addressed. There are people who have refused to take responsibility. So we keep on changing coaches. There is an issue of mismanagement at the national teams. There is a very stark issue of conflict of interest that we have refused to admit, causing us. There is an issue of people not being merited in positions. There is an issue of inviting players who are not deserving. There is an issue of increasing interference in the invitation of players to the national teams. And the mismanagement, especially with the national teams, one of the key areas that we mentioned when we embarked on the demonstration 8 months ago was the fact that the national team management committees are only there in name. There is no substance. And that is the first thing the GFA has done today. When we called for the dissolution of the management 8 months ago, we were called names. Today, after the failure of the Black Stars to qualify, the GFA admits, and the first body that has been disbanded is the management committee. So it tells you that they refuse to admit to what were going wrong. The issue of management, the issue of conflict of interest, the lack of accountability, and the authorities refusing to accept what the actual problem is. And we will go in circles. Now, the next place to go before the qualification of AFCON, there are matches played among teams like Chad, Eritrea, Somalia. That is the preliminary stage before you qualify. This is where we will struggle to now even make it from the prelim. So it is not an issue of the Black Stars failing to qualify. I want to situate it in the context of a bigger issue beyond the Black Stars qualification, and that is what we must address. I think the dissolution of the management is very insignificant to the problems that we face. And like Henry mentioned, these are the issues that has persisted. We win 1-2 games for a team that had been consistent in performance. We win 1-2 games, and that is the measure. And I always say, even a faulty clock produces the correct time twice a day. So winning 1-2, I think that we have to measure the performance of the team as against the previous standard, what we used to be. So I don't think that winning 1-2 matches in the World Cup qualification stage and losing 6 consecutive games, Henry will agree that no coach in a country with a quarter Ghana's reputation will maintain his position if they go 6 games without a win and end up in a group of teams that did not win a single game, Eswatini, Chad, and the like. So we have to first admit that winning 2 games in World Cup qualifiers will not be a justification for Otto not qualifying the team for the first time in 20 years and not winning a game in 6. The first time in history that this happened. We have to accept that. The dissolution of the management, reason why I say it's insignificant is because the management committee has only existed in name. It's a phantom committee, this current one. 6, there are 5.
Is that a fair criticism?
Yes.
People have been working to ensure that things are working and they're not getting the results you desire. So this is how you...
You are perusing the headline before you read the contents of what I am about to say.
Okay, let me hear.
Have existed in name. So if you dissolve it, you are dissolving a body that is dead. The management committee consists of 5 people. After the 2022 World Cup,
There were 7.
no, those who went to, they were 7 and reduced to 5.
There were 7.
Yes.
Jones Alassane Abu passed.
Yes.
And then it was left with 6. Then after the World Cup, Sami Kufuor left. He resigned, actually.
Yes.
And then Kenel Damois also resigned. And I think Alhaji Gruza also left.
So it's,
So 6.
This is the point.
And then
Yeah.
it was left with 3. Mark Addo, Kwesi Ajiman, and then Mr. Kotobamfu, seconds.
Yes. So it's a body that consists of 7 members, and 1 passed. Unfortunately, there was no replacement. If it's a corporate practice that you say you want 7 for a particular purpose, 1 passed, he wasn't replaced. Gruza resigned or left, he wasn't replaced. Kenel Damois has not been with the team, as we know. Based on paper, he's there, but based on fact, he's not been with the team. Sami Kufuor left. If you add the 3 to the 1 who passed, that's 4. You have 3 of them. During the qualification stages, especially the crucial periods of the team, the 2 members who were with the team, Mr. Kwesi Ajiman, the head of tourism, and Mark Addo, who is the chairman of the committee, when we needed wins, if the management is that important, both of them were absent in the United States, as we hear. So this is a committee. We thought that they did not exist in substance.
So let's
yes.
help me here.
Yes.
The committee has been left with how many members over what period?
From 2022, after the World Cup, before the World Cup, Jones Abu left, then Gruza left, Sami Kufuor left, Kenel Damois left, and left with...
So roughly, Henry may help us. How long have they been?
1 year.
1 year. Reduced to how many?
3.
3.
Yes. They did not, it wasn't the same period.
I get that.
Yes.
I get that.
They
I get
left
that.
at different time.
I get that. I get that. But that means the committee does not exist. A committee of 7 left with 3 cannot be holding meetings.
Yes.
Okay, so
in the name of the committee.
The background to this whole issue was that after the AFCON, the Executive Council took a decision to disband all national team committees and left the Black Stars committee hanging because they had an immediate assignment. The AFCON ended in February. We had an immediate assignment in March. So they said, okay, then let's allow them to take us through the first.
Yeah, so replenish it.
The first 2 games.
It's not a committee. When it's left with 3, it's not a committee anymore.
That is what has been the case in the last.
Okay. So conclude at that point quickly. Sani is on. I had called him and
if
he wasn't.
If you agree that conclusively it is not a committee, then my justification that dissolving a committee that doesn't exist is not doing anything. Yeah, there's nothing that has been done. The real challenge needs to be addressed. The dissolution, if we do not explain it like this for you to understand, it will appear the FA has taken a significant decision. They have not done anything.
Okay.
I'm just trying to... Sani makes a point of Angola coach. Some of your texters here are talking about how the Angolan coach, Aliou Cisse, Senegal. And I blame Ghanaians, all of us. Something, we have become too focused on the Black Stars. So when you talk about the real challenges that culminate in the Black Stars failure, people don't even understand. So they just see the Black Stars playing. That's where everybody's heart is. And unless and until the Black Stars, there's a problem with the Black Stars, nobody finds fault with our football. The Angolan coach was appointed 8 years ago to start from under 17. He has been building his team from Angola under 17 to under 20 before he proved himself to coach the national team. This is a group of players he has built substantially. Aliou Cisse was first an assistant for 3 years to the under 23, qualified them for the Olympic Games before he proved that he can coach.
You don't see a plan in Ghana?
No. Knee-jerk, emotions, power play. Look at the appointment of coaches and management committee members. You see, Henry mentioned, and he alludes, and I have to give to him that he accepts the fact that In Ghana, the conflict of interest situation, real and perceived, both exists in large volumes at the FA. He says that how far can you go with the interventions you make? Samson, can you imagine that the English national team coach, 4 years after he's been sacked, says he makes a list of players, 23, presents it to the FA after acceptance. When it is published, there is a player that he's not invited in the squad. And this is not investigated in this country. Black Stars, not under 12, not under 15, not under 20. CK Akono has said he presented the squad.
Yeah, I heard him.
That I am the Black Stars coach. I have given the squad of players we have accepted. Then I give the squad to the FA to publish that this is the list of, not the intervention stage, not the collaboration stage. Then when the squad is published, there is a player, he says, I did not invite this player. We did not investigate that. He has come back again to say there is a real mess in terms of the way the FA interferes with head coaches. If you want to believe in this system, Najib comes to say, the president of the FA wanted me to play for, it's an allegation. Yabwa Tinjan has made this. There are several calls of this to journalists that we know sometimes you can't put them out. But we have to accept that the FA president owns about 6-7 teams. And if I'm not mistaken, that's under his belt, clubs that he used to run before he became the FA, and more after that. People close to him have clubs. And the call-ups, you can forget about the Black Stars and say, no player from the FA president club. Even the appointment to the technical teams, the backroom staff of teams, is so tainted. If we don't accept this, and you come and tell me there is future, I may not trust the same association that relieved Kwesi Appiah, that brought in Milo, that relieved CK, that brought in Otuado, that relieved Otuado, brought in Chris Hilton, brought Otuado back again, to say they are constituting another meeting to bring in a coach. The defect is with the appointing body. And they don't accept that these issues of conflict of interest, the politicization, the enmity amongst the football people. I want to end on this point that Honorable Bawa makes. And Samson, if we want to take our football serious, in 2004, when we failed to qualify, we brought in fresh legs, players who we had trained from under 17 to under 20. They had played at the World Cup twice. There was Derek Boateng, Mike Elysian, John Mensah, John Pinstall, Razak Pimpong, Adukwe Papu. All these players, Suleiman Tari, they had played in the under 17 World Cup, under 20 World Cup. So the progression, the transition, you could see that we have failed to qualify, but there is future. They took us for 12 to 15 years. In 2008, we promoted a list of players. So you have two options when your national team fails. Either to, this is exclusive to Africans, to go for the under 20 team or under 17, or to go for your domestic players. Ghana doesn't have those two options now. So which players are going to transition into the new team? So my point is that it is not an issue of Otuado, even though I believe that Otuado is not the right man now from what players we have spoken to. He's lost the dressing room. You have to accept. But the problem goes deeper than just alluding to the blame to the coach. The Ghana Football Association is a problematic institution, and the 122 members there are supposed to make a deep inquisition into their affairs before we change any other thing around the team.
Prince Erosa of Fair, if GFA employs qualified coaches to fill the gap and allow them to work without any interference, then Black Stars